Many learners struggle with the amount of content knowledge and the amount of learning of facts that is required in many different subjects and many different grades. All the subjects have a certain amount of content knowledge that the learners do struggle to understand. And this is definitely not a reason to avoid the content, but rather an opportunity to embrace it. And we need to teach the learners from a young age, how do we deal with vast amount of content? We need to help the learners that are struggling, and we must remember that this requires a lot of time and effort on our part. Now, there are 5 key strategies that we can implement, and we're going to take you through each of these step by step, bearing in mind that you can use this for any grade and for any subject. Now, the first strategy is identifying by observing. It's essential that we identify the sections of work that the learners are struggling with, and also which learners are struggling. There are certain things we need to look for. The first is look for the learners that are performing badly in their informal assessments. There also might be some learners that are disinterested in class and others that don't complete their homework. Often you've got learners that continually ask questions in class and others that do not complete any work at all. Even your disruptive learners may be crying out for help in some way as they're not coping with the volumes of work and volumes of content. Now, these are all warning signs. So we need to look at these when we see these happen all the time. Look at them and use them as triggers. The next strategy, simplify by writing. You'll find that often learners don't understand the topics because they find the vocabulary really daunting. What helps is often to identify 20 keywords that are used in the section of work. Write these lists on the board. Get the learners then to go and look for their own definitions and write them down next to each of the words. You need to check that they're correct and then test the learners on them. And by doing this, they have a better grasp of the vocabulary and maybe will understand the concepts better. The next strategy is by using listening. It's really important that we use simple and clear examples that the learners can relate to. Make sure that when you explain a section of work, you use keywords. Make sure that the examples that you're using are examples that they can understand and even more importantly, that they can actually relate to. And often it's an excellent idea to tell them a story related to the topic, if that's at all possible. Our learners really struggle to read with comprehension, and we need to give them a lot of practice in this. Provide the learners with a comprehension where they actually have to read the words in context and understand the content for themselves. What's also a good idea is once you've done that, set 1 or 2 questions on the work so that they're forced and encouraged to understand the information before actually answering the questions. The last and probably most important strategy that we can use is doing. Our learners often sit idle in the classroom and they're listening and they're not engaging in the work and the content. The only way for a learner to master something is to practice it on a continuous basis. Provide the learners with a couple of worksheets, at least 2, that will consolidate the information and the understanding of the section of work. And regular practice and consolidation will also give the learner confidence that they've mastered the topic. These 5 simple strategies are strategies that we should be using in our teaching every single day. We must, however, not forget that the most effective strategy is actually positive reinforcement. Our learners thrive on knowing that there's someone who believes in them.